Hi everyone, and welcome to the first official update of Diverse Books and Schooling. It's been 1 month officially since I have launched Compassionate Kids, and I am very excited that there has been so much feedback and so many people excited to use this curriculum. That is the best payment. If you don't know, Compassionate Kids is a social emotional learning curriculum. I offer it for free and all sorts of robust resources to help bolster instructors and feel confident in teaching social emotional learning. So I launched Compassionate Kids with 2 levels and the instructor guide that came with it. I felt that it needed a little bit more support because some of these topics are a little bit heavier to talk about, especially if you're newer to them. So I released Compassionate Caregivers as kind of a companion learning resource for caregivers to be able to learn more about these topics and feel confident in conveying them in ways for your learner to comprehend as well. It gives a little bit of stages for advice. It goes from preschooler all the way up to teen years. The books that I've included are hilarious at times. They offer lots of prompting and lots of other ways to kind of troubleshoot difficult conversations with your learners in ways that they can emotionally understand. So those have launched. Then Diverse Dive started, and these are book studies that focus on social emotional learning. So you're not going to find like grammar and composition and things in there. You're going to find activities that are art projects, things that convey to subjects like grief and divorce and mental health and neurodiversity. So while you could connect those pieces yourself if you are a English type person, this is going to be focused on discussions around the emotions that are conveyed in the stories or around the big topics like the social topics that need talked about in the stories. There are currently 4 or 5 released, with 2 more coming really soon. The next one is going to be A Fish Like Me by Jamie Sumner, and it is about a kiddo who is using a mobility aid, but they do swim therapy and they compare themselves to the different fish around them in the environment. It's really, really sweet. Then the next one is going to be Listen to the Girls, and this is a powerful one, and this is about a girl who is groomed by her teacher in middle school. It is not completely explicit, but you learn she processes her feelings around it and starts to understand what is comfortable with consent, what is not comfortable with consent. Big, powerful discussions will be happening with that one, and I'm very excited. Speaking of consent, that is one overarching topic that is going to be coming up soon for Compassionate Teens. I say soon. So Compassionate Teens is the biggest upcoming project, and it is releasing in spring of 2027. Now, if you've been following me already, I release things earlier than what I say. I'm not sure if this one's going to be the case yet because it's still in development, but I do have that ADHD hyperfixation, so we will see. Compassionate Teens is going to be set up much differently than Compassionate Kids. There will be some similar elements, but it is going to be not as many books, but super in-depth books and super in-depth thinking. So I have the topics listed on my website, but Compassionate Teens is really going to focus, yes, on emotional intelligence, but emotional intelligence in some complex ways, as well as how they are conveyed to their peers, how they understand their peers' emotions. We're going to be talking about some social justice topics because, especially in teen years, this is when you're really learning yourself and your values even more and being able to support the diverse community around you, even if you don't identify with these different identity labels. So, for example, I'm currently reading a wonderful nonfiction story that reads like fiction about the dangers of a social media account that was racist, and it tells the accounts from all sorts of different perspectives and how it affected them, and it really gets teens thinking about what they say lasts and how it can affect people. This is also going to be paired with later on in the lessons with a mindfulness and media book. So it teaches about mindfulness, but it also teaches about the harms of, doom scrolling, which, us adults, some of us are, guilty of it, but thinking consciously about how you use your media for entertainment. Really excited about that one. Then the smaller study that's upcoming that I've been working on a lot is Emotions Through Music. Emotions Through Music is going to explore emotions through music. So it has a set list. It's really cute so far. I've been formatting it. The set list is right here. You can find a lot of information on the website about it though, and it is going to cover all sorts of different emotions and topics, starting with grief. And we're using artists from today, even on the first lesson, it's Noah Kahan and Taylor Swift. But we're using artists from today as well as artists from 50 years ago to really explore how they conveyed emotions through their lyrics or even through the instruments that are used in the song. We start off with a crash course on music. So we talk about frisson, which is like the goosebumps you get when you hear music. We talk about tempo, and we talk about major and minor chords. Then we also talk really quick below at the bottom before we start the lessons. It does a brief intro on why emotions can be calmed through music or how they help invoke emotions as well. Really, really excited about creating this because as a teen, I adored music. And this is going to be for 12 and up because a few of the songs do include sentence enhancing words, but there's nothing explicit in like graphic in nature. Those updates and all sorts of new curriculum will be available on my website. I update everything like several times a week because I want to be transparent and keep myself accountable. And I know how exciting it is on the other side to get updates from a curriculum creator that you've been following, right? So you can check my website for a lot more recent updates. These type videos are going to happen maybe every month or two because I want to make sure that I pack in all sorts of information with more detail. Let's backtrack just a little bit. Updates. I did update the Compassionate Kids Instructor Guide. So I had wrong page numbers listed on lesson 4, and thankfully someone who was using the curriculum pointed it out to me this morning. So if you use growing feelings as a spine, on lesson 4, you need to make sure that it says chapter 1, pages 2 through 14. I don't know what happened there, but I had some random page numbers listed, and that definitely was not the case for what was needed for that lesson. If you notice any other mistakes on Compassionate Kids at all, please let me know. To be transparent, sometimes I was writing this at 2 a.m. Sometimes I was writing this while I was also instructing my kids and had to step away. Life. And I do appreciate the feedback. I appreciate the positive feedback. I appreciate if you're like, hey, this isn't working for me. This seems like a lot. I can help you narrow it down. If you want a different book for a certain subject, feel free to ask. Speaking of books, my book list, if you do not know, I have a giant free spreadsheet on the front page of my website, all the way down at the bottom. It has almost 1,000 books on it currently, sorted by subject. You can even find the Compassionate Kids books there. You can find sneak peeks of Compassionate Teens books there. And they're all listed by category. I have so many. Like, for example, I have for specific subjects on history, I have over 100 books listed. And they have little summaries on the side on the topics they cover. They're sorted starting from all ages all the way down to adult because I do read adult books as well. So this is wonderful for those of you that are like, hey, I need to switch out this book. I don't really like it that much. Or I have a younger learner or an older learner doing this with me. You can go look through and see which books are suggested. If you have any other questions, if you need book suggestions, or you have questions about upcoming ideas or ways to make Compassionate Kids work for you and your family and your values, feel free to reach out. I would love to be able to troubleshoot and help you.